it all, hanging over me like a black cloud, was Rourke. He destroyed an oil platform, lured away an entire fleet, sunk a destroyer, and I was still wondering one thing. Where's Rourke? Here, ahead of us, waiting? Is that good? Ghost. What happened to him? There was something in that factory, something the Federation never wanted us to see, and we were about to find out exactly what it was.
You got 2 contacts approaching low. They're down. We're moving to entry A. Scarecrow, we have eyes on the factory. Over. Roger. Make your way into Blackstone. Copy that. Approaching entry. Keegan, we're at entry A. Check. We're ready at entry B. Copy. Moving. Regroup 50 meters. Signal moving to RV. Hold. Tango. He's yours. Keep it quiet. On. Check. We reached the south hall door. It's a big. No guys within the top level. Make it quiet.
On the stairwell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it quiet. Come clear. Lock clear. EKIA. Bridge clear. Kick, we reached the south hall door. It's a big one. Whatever's in there, they want to keep it safe. No cameras in Black Zone.
Just a second. That's. Hello? Yeah. You mean the stuff on the stairwell? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Gonna have to end it.
Take him. Let's move. Keep an eye on perimeter and security. Nothing and no one gets through. And no one gets out either. Everyone else, we're moving left to infill and then to Black Zone. Through here. Target's ahead. Get a target. Logan, we're on you.
All clear. I got right.
Grab a new security badge. Got one.
On the door. Opening. Two ahead. Drop him. Clear to move. Keep your eyes out. Kick. How are those campers coming? Merrick, eyes on your next zone. Lots of targets, no good advantage. We'll make our own advantage. Multiple routes. Split up. Sweep it clear. Go. Logan and I have the right side handled. Flashlight's down. Down. Wait for a clear shot on this guy. Take him. Top clear. Bottom clear. Looks like he had a friend. Right's clear. Kick, we reached the south vault door. It's a big one. Whatever's in there, they want to keep it safe. No cameras in black zone. You're on your own inside. Starting override procedure. Heading in. Multiple tangos, go hard! No infects within the top level. Bottom clear. EKIA. Right clear.
Okay, we are back in action after a significant clusterfuck of events which forced me to delete several hours worth of material going all the way to the end of the game. But nonetheless, it is the afternoon of Sunday and I am back in action playing COD Ghosts. And I am excited to bring you my next project, which I will discuss at the end of the game.
Looks like some kind of satellite.
With a hell of a weapons package. Scarecrow we found. It looks like space-based weapons.
Copy actual.
Now, unfortunately, there won't be as many, like,
Patch, you too.
as situations where I sort of, like, talk about my my reaction to certain plot points, because I already know how the game ends now, because I played through the whole thing.
Right there, that's it. It's a kinetic rod delivery system.
Like the ones that took out.
But I'll try to be as talkative as I can.
There's a lot more of them. Definitely based on our own design. We need to find out how many they've built. Good work, boys. This was a big find. Our flight is Tara Wing confirmed for bombing run. Total coverage is go for effect. Drop everything. Let's move.
Copy Scarecrow just is confirmed. Only clicks out 6 minutes en route for full effect.
They're just gonna bomb the hell out of that nuclear silo.
Target Romeo and Birdhouse. Arc flights 21, 22, and 23. Target Cooper, Dixie, and Tango. Pattern bombing, absolute coverage. Merrick, find any data that can give us a bigger picture of their progress. Then get out of there. You have an entire air wing en route to level the whole complex.
Copy that. Kick, you got that? Arc lights en route. This entire factory's gonna disappear very soon.
Copy.
They really have way too many situations where that happens, where they have, like, people infiltrating a place to sabotage,
Looks like manufacturing data.
and then they have to run out before it explodes because their own guys have been, like, given bombing runs
Prediction. I don't understand.
on purpose.
Grab the data.
I feel like that's not how the U.S. military would work, but what do I know?
Genesis cannot be diverted.
Shit! We got one idiot! We've got more incoming! Okay, he's lined up and moving. Ready to move!
Now why?
Ready!
If they can talk to like headquarters on the radio, why can't headquarters tell the bombers to hold on? They're not. They must be drones or something like that. But even if they're drones, they could like they could order the sort of the AI of the drones to sort of like hover near the facility until all of the U.S. soldiers are out. I know that no one's actually gonna watch my videos, but if anyone does eventually come back to this, you know, after 5 years of growing this channel and getting like a good number of subscribers for some, you know, possibility, can somebody tell me like why the bombing run can't be halted for a few minutes while our guys get out? Now, why on earth would you think that? We're completely surrounded, and we've lost all of the element of surprise. Oh, come on. This is where we had to get to pretty quickly. We should have been there faster, but I'll admit I do like bypassing enemies entirely. Well, except for the point at which you have to actually kill all of them for them to say clear.
Merrick, I'm securing transport, but you got a full house on the rooftop ahead of you.
Okay, we're moving on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Wow, I wonder if they'll barely escape the bombing run and they'll get onto the helicopter with 2 seconds to spare and they'll just barely escape like being burned alive in the explosion. I mean, it's not a COD game without somebody, like, jumping onto a helicopter as the place they were just at explodes behind them in tremendous fashion. You know, and of course, not only that, but they have to be barely holding on to the sort of the rubber ladder of the helicopter.
Jack, where are you? 1 minute. We don't have a minute.
Well, it doesn't look like we're supposed to move up. Now, if we killed that many of them, would they really be able to coordinate, like, all those jeeps? Well, I gotta give it to him. Like, you wouldn't see this in Binding of Isaac.
Number 24, but where are the other 23? Well, there ain't gonna be a 25th. J-Sock will give us our next steps.
You know, you wouldn't see this in all these, you know, Steam Greenlight indie games. You know. IndieFags BTFO.
The Federation has reversed.
Absolutely. I mean, how can that compare to this?
How long until it's operational? Unclear. The data you recovered has been sent on to NORAD. SecDef wants the debrief in person. Keegan, I'm sending you to Colorado Springs. You got it. We'll rendezvous at the Vegas safe house at 1200 hours tomorrow. J-Sock's gonna want to move fast on this, so load up before you get any shut-eye. We got 6 hours till Keegan gets back. Hold up. Something feel off to you? Security's working.
So it looks like we're about to be captured. You know, I gotta hand it to these South Americans. They've basically developed a military as technologically advanced as us. Could never think of that happening in the time period we're in right now. I mean, if you've captured the top of American Special Forces, I just kill them. But, I mean...
You're awake. Good. Nice to have the family back together, isn't it? We're just missing our quiet friend. Where's Keegan?
You know I'm not telling you a damn thing.
No? Let's see if I can change your mind. Easy, Junior. I ain't even started with you yet.
Logan, look at me. Look at me, son.
That's right. You look at him. That's it. Show him how much pain he's causing you. Funny thing about your old man, he lets his men die to save his own ass.
Damn it, Rourke. This is between you and me. Leave my voice out of it.
You're talking to a superior, Lieutenant. Show some discipline.
Now, I made this comment when I was recording earlier, this scene, and I came back to it a lot because it just absolutely baffled me. And that is, how is it at all realistic that Rourke could have developed this enormous psychological complex over just being left to die, you know, in Caracas and having to have Elias let him go.
You're awake. Good. Nice to have
I fucked this scene up with when I did it before too.
Just missing our quiet friend.
Anyway, yeah, I mean,
You know I'm not telling you a damn thing.
his entire personality is just this one-dimensional, just revenge, anger, hatred.
Look at me. Look at me,
And at no point does the Federation actually come into this. Like, there's no discussion of Rourke being inculcated with sort of anti-American ideas or socialist ideas or anything of that sort. And it makes you think that Rourke could have just easily been just a vigilante with his own men. You know, his own faction in this war, as it were. There was no reason for him to have been part of the Federation.
Well, that's too bad.
Oh, I messed it up again. Yeah, there was no reason for him to be part of the Federation.
Good. Nice to have the family.
And indeed, he's not like the leader of the Federation or anything. He's just like a minor, like a captain or a colonel or something or other.
You know I'm not telling you a damn thing. No. Let's see.
And I think they wanted to have an enemy that they could focus on without having to give the Federation any sort of ideological bent or any sort of backstory whatsoever. They didn't want to make any reference of any sort of real country as being the impetus behind this. And of course, you know, for those who know current events and such, we know that Federation is probably an allegory for Venezuela, and it's probably Venezuela where it started, and such.
You and your sons. You big guys.
Boy, he's still got a little life in him. Didn't he ever tell you not to aim guns at people? They can go off. That's it. Just a little more. That way. Come on. Point it. Logan! Logan!
Who? You got fire in you, kid. I like that. Risking your life to protect your captain. You could learn something from him, Elias.
I mean, at least in Call of Duty 4, we got a relatively decent amount of backstory for why the Russian ultranationalists are even, you know, at all anti-American. We got a backstory about the Arab revolts to a significant extent with that, you know, long speech that we heard from al-Assad. That was like the linchpin of a lot of the Middle Eastern missions.
I'm the man that hunts them and sends them back to the other side.
Nothing like that in Ghosts, and I think, you know, in Black Ops 2 and 3, where we really sort of built this world, this near future world, and conversely, you know, I don't remember a lot about Advanced Warfare or Infinite Warfare storylines, but they could not have been that well received if they didn't continue the storyline. And these companies really need to start realizing that You either make a story that is meant to wrap up in one game, or you actually have plans to. You need to have plans to actually continue the storyline. You can't have the entire, like, Advanced Warfare, Kevin Spacey. You can't have that all be like wrapped up in one situation, in one game. Okay, hold on, I gotta find where I'm supposed to go here. Trying to follow the sound of your voice here. Okay.
Damn it, get your ass over here now. Let's make this quick. We're clear.
This probably isn't going to be a sniper mission, to be honest.
Grab that radio.
Not from what I remember.
Sending one of them our way.
What's your location?
Moving to the kitchen. Why?
I'm almost there. You better find a place to hide. A lot of guys head right to you.
How many?
Too many.
Get him up. Hide in here, quick. Down, get down. Turn the radio down. Shh, shh. Hey, el ruido venía de ahí. Revisen las esquinas. No dejen nada a la suerte. Rodrigo, mira ahí. Ahora mismo. Keep low.
Okay, they're gone.
Thanks for the shot.
And indeed, not to spoil anything, but our protagonists will often, sort of go against orders from their superiors to take part in the war against the Federation in order to go out to war. And it just seems like it would make more sense if our protagonists sort of picked which part of the war they were going to fight, whether it was war or the general sort of fight against the Federation. If they really are, the best special forces in the country, they should be given a few more guys, and they should be allowed to focus their entire attentions on Rourke. Or in the other possibility, Merrick and Cash and Logan should be given command of a large amount of forces and be put in charge of the war against the Federation if, they have such skills to command. I imagine they would, being special forces. And they should just, you know, give a whole regiment over to taking down Rourke. I almost said York. Yeah, we're fighting Tom York here. That's... Yeah. I wonder where they'll eventually find him. I actually don't remember where they found Riley.
How much further? Not much more. Just stick to the left side.
There was, I feel like there must be like, I forget exactly where this takes place, this mission, but there must be like some sort of a base that these guys have in this shopping mall. Because this is the second. I feel like I was not supposed to go through there. In fact, I had to go through here instead. And who knows what would have happened. Maybe the Federation guys would have kept spawning if I had stayed back there and fought by myself.
Logan! Logan! You okay? How about you, Merrick?
I'm good. But we need to move before those choppers find out where we are. We can make it to the strip. I can find us a ride out of here.
So we're in Las Vegas now, so we're not in Dallas.
We're gonna be outnumbered.
So this isn't a military base. It's just happens to be two malls near each other.
He's okay. Bullet went straight through. Put some fire on this bird! Look, carry him.
Already on it.
Get right, let's go!
Oh, I'm gonna have to pick it up, of course. I remember this. And I had a strategy of some kind, actually, that I did. I tried to stay. I tried to stay on the front lines with Riley. That way, I could try and coax my allies to actually keep moving up. Forgive me, I'm a bit frightened of choppers. And of course, you can't move a certain amount of you know, meters ahead, because your allies will get mad at you and you say, "Oh, you've left Riley behind." Even if you can figure out exactly where he is, because there's a goddamn fucking you know, special bit of There's a tracker on him, and you know exactly where he is at all times.
Go 6, we got a ride home for you guys if you want it. Hell yeah! Come on, Logan, we're leaving! Command, this is Prince 2-0. We're loaded up in RTB. Solid copy. Nice work, 2-0.
Aw, poor guy.
In the event a ghost is killed, his remains are placed face down, with his head pointed in the direction of his home, his weapon next to him. We do it this way, so that when our fallen are taken to the other side, they can watch over us and keep an eye on our enemy. Dad was gone. Nothing could change that.
Now, is that a real American Special Forces
The Federation
tradition to bury their
Rourke.
fallen like that?
This war wasn't over.
If anyone watches these videos that knows one way or the other the answer to that, I'd like to know.
I'll die trying to fill it.
USS Liberator, this is Phantom 2-2 on final approach. Copy, Phantom 2-2. You are cleared for landing. Deck is prepped. There, we gotta go after him. I want Rourke.
Negative, Hesh. The Federation satellites are moving into position. If they go live, the Feds can strike targets anywhere on the globe.
So what's the plan?
We risk everything we have left, including our last carrier. And we take it straight into the heart of Federation territory. We hit him on the ground, and we hit him in the sky. It's all or nothing.
Lieutenant Max, please report to the flight deck.
When the assault starts, we need a ghost team on the ground.
We'll be ready.
And you'll be leading this one, Hesh.
Oh, our graphics have gone down significantly.
Resources. Your father was a great man, a great leader. He saw the same potential in both of you. Here, Logan. This belonged to him.
Sorry, boy. Your job's done. You're going with Merrick.
He'll be safe.
All call signs. Federation forces have entered our airspace. Report to your station.
Now,
Alert 5 aircraft entry.
I'm sorry, Infinity Ward, but
Transportation to the ground.
these missions are much better.
All hands to stations. We are being boarded.
The less it has to do with Rourke, the more fun it is, honestly, because you're actually fighting in an army for, like, army-related things and not just a personal vendetta.
Hornets are in the air. I repeat, hornets are in the air.
I need to figure out which of these, you know, choppers are enemies' choppers and which are our friends. I remember you should be using a submachine gun and not whatever the hell that was.
10 more bogies within alert 5 distance. Prep and deliver topside.
Ah, that's the sad thing about these missions, is you can accidentally kill your own guys because you're just spawning like American Marines over and over. As it should be, you know, it shouldn't be a weird situation where
Regroup on me. Move your ass, Logan. Get over here. How long until the osprey's up and functional?
you're gonna die.
Logan, get over here now. We're ready in 2 minutes.
Oh god.
Anytime. The weapons out. Gotta hold them off.
I was just having fun looking at the progression of the you know the artificial intelligence, you know, the world basically. And they forced me to make a decision. And that enemy just clipped through the ground. It just died and literally fell through the asphalt.
Alert 5 distance. Prep and deliver topside.
Wow, I do not have very good rate of fire on this either. Rate of fire on this gun is so bad that I thought it was the other gun that I got rid of. That's how bad it is. Okay, let me get out of the way here. I gotta run to this guy really fast, or else something terrible will happen.
How long until the Osprey's up and functional? We're loading her now. She'll be airborne and ready in 2 mics. Grab the target and control. We need to direct the drop. She'll come back around on tight runs. Just be ready to mark those targets. We need transport to join the assault hitting the ground array. Yes, sir. Choppers are inbound, but it'll be 10 blocks. Just give me the transport. All squad.
Because they're the protagonists, they have to be like really domineering and have to be like, "Don't you understand? We know what to do. You're getting in our way." Oh, this is fun. It's hard, but it's fun. Okay, so doing our best, obviously. We won't personally be in any danger, but you'd think they'd be terrified to still be giving these, running these amphibious landings. There's choppers everywhere.
Understood, 3-1.
Type 3-1 coming in hot.
Multiple hits, Titan 3-1. Keep it coming. All squads, be advised. The Federation gunship is in the AO. We gotta get the missile launcher online and take down that gunship.
Oh, I think I remember this section as well. This was difficult. Oh, scripted event. Oh, I'm gonna die soon if I don't do what they say. Oh, boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
Grab the ring and beat the target. I'll cover you. Target, we have to take down that gunship. There it is! Federation gunship! Target the gunship! Let it deploy!
Now, your allies are going to be like constantly complaining that they're about to die, but in reality, you're pretty okay no matter what you do. I spoke too soon. Now, the issue was just then that I focused on the choppers that were in the distance, whereas in reality I should have been like sort of circling my viewfinder around to find the choppers that are very, very close to me. And of course that's why I just died. Because you have to move your viewfinder around over and over and over. Because there are certain choppers that'll just come around that'll be in the distance, and certain choppers like the one I just destroyed
We've lost communication with the Carolina. Federation gunship is down. Repeat, Federation gunship is down. Transports are away and inbound to the ground.
Nice shoot, Logan. The carrier's safe. Time to join the main assault.
the
You got our ride.
Affirmative, Viper 6 inbound.
this flat cannon moved so slowly that
Entering the atmosphere.
back and forth that I thought my mouse was like messed up or something.
Go, go, go! Tower's coming down! To your right! Look out for that upgrade! Watch out!
Whoa!
Get to the alley! Come on, Logan! Get on, let's go!
I get the idea. Jesus. So- Of course, they had something explode right before I got to the heli to give a little more drama.
We need to join the main assault and take out the ground array, or this war is over.
We'll strike targets at the same time. Assault teams launch headed for the Federation space station. Their mission is to breach the station and take control of its orbital orbits. To make their approach possible, we have to destroy the space station's early warning array on the ground. Crash, you need a team to seize control of their command center and launch a missile at their ground array. Lord could be in the area, but this takes priority. An armored battalion will punch through the Fed's defenses. Expect the most intense resistance of the entire area.
I think this might be the most fun mission. You know, the last mission is pretty fun, and Federation Day might be the #1. So Severed Ties would be #2, and then there's 1 or 2 missions after this that are really good.
We got the green light from all systems.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 missions after this that are pretty good, and then the last mission.
GPS is functioning.
But really, the game doesn't start getting good until the second half, with the exception of Federation Day. Open the pod bay doors, Hal. You're releasing me! Whoa. Oh god. Do they actually do that? Do they just, like, fling the tanks out of the fucking transport planes? Well, I guess it must depend on, like, how hot the landing zone is. which is, you know, not very hot at this point. Did I kill my own guy? Yeah, maybe I did. Now, there's only 2 allies that will actually remain you know, not killed consistently throughout this. Yeah, you can't really stop from this point. The mortars are pretty fucking effective. But you know, I love this. You don't stop. You just keep going. This honestly, this can't be very realistic because this is the smoothest operating tank I have ever played in a game. You know, to give a comparison, I mean the tank that you took control of in like the fields and farmlands of Eastern Europe in the Russian section of Call of Duty World at War was not nearly as fun as this. And honestly, in this particular section, where you're taking out the anti-aircraft emplacements, you can just roll around and do nothing but take out the emplacements, and you don't even have to touch any of the other enemies. Although it's fun to just roll around and just nonchalantly take out an enemy tank or a helicopter while you're going to somewhere else, you know. It's so easy to take out a helicopter in a tank. I don't know why you'd think it would be really hard, because tanks are kind of bulky and their cannons move very slowly, but helicopter gunner mission, huh? It's like the first part of the invasion of Iraq in Call of Duty 4. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say Iraq? I meant unspecified Arab country number 2. You know what? If they don't start coming out with Iraq war games, I'm gonna be mad. Because I think, honestly, at this point, people should know more about the actual progression of the Iraq War as a military operation, and not just as, like, a political thing. You know, where you're blaming Bush for it, or, you know, or you're supporting it because you want to take the fight to the terrorists. Sorry, I actually don't know where I'm supposed to go. But anyway, yeah, Iraq war games. Get on it, come on. I mean, it should be explored and taught and really like understood thoroughly just like the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, World War II, you know, and what have you. I don't know anything about the progression of like the individual battles. I don't know any generals. I mean, I almost said, wasn't Westmoreland in Iraq? But no, that was Vietnam.
Merrick, launch room secure. Command, trajectory update.
Not a lot of Vietnam games either.
Be advised, the area is covered by multiple B-75
I think there would be, seeing how the world game industry is pretty dominated by America. That makes me think it would be interesting if there was a Japanese-made Vietnam game.
We have a successful launch. Command copies all.
How they would portray us. I mean, the Japanese are pretty pro-American, all things considered. Even if there is like a general conception of like
Sorry, Merrick. Your mission's complete. Ours isn't.
foreigners being like a threat to the stability of Japan if they ever happen to actually move to Japan. Okay, I'm doing something terrible because I don't know where the hell I'm supposed to go. Okay. Now, you actually do have the legitimate time limit. I thought that you didn't at first because, like, I didn't know what the time limit was for. But there's actually, again, it's another thing where they're bombing the facility that they just invaded. Like, I really hope this isn't, like, standard practice for the U.S. Army, because if so, that's ridiculous. We gotta get to this asshole I don't care about.
Fire team suppressed 3-1. Advancing to the building.
Roger that.
There's Long Street. Straight ahead.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, you know, 5 years later when my channel gets, you know, actual subscribers, there'll be an Iraq War game. And my viewers can say, like, haha, you never would expected this game to come out in 2020 and take the world by storm and become the most popular games. It's an Iraq War game. Yeah, so hopefully that works, because otherwise I'll have to actually read books. You know, nobody likes that. Okay.
Solid copy.
Secure the sector. Missile is inbound. Divert all forces to primary objective. Forward elements of B Company will have air support at the ground array. The AA gun will destroy anything in the sky, including our missile. Our tanks are going to have to take those turrets out.
Command, we need air support at the bridge.
Roger. A-10s are en route. Keep moving, Badger 1. The bridge is clear. What's the strike effective?
I see here. Well, I'm not really sure if our, oh shit. I'm gonna have to let myself go here. Okay, I'm not really sure if our actions up to the point of getting to Rourke's train affects the amount of time that I have in this tank section, because I moved pretty leisurely through that last section, and I had 8 minutes to spare, give or take a couple seconds.
Destroy the turrets now! Tank, right side! Target down! Signal ready! Signal loaded! On the way! Missile on guard! We're hit! Two missiles offline! Get stuff ice! We're losing hydraulic fluid, Section 1! Destroy the turrets now! Incoming missiles! On throttle! Fire! Let's normal out! Badger 2, exit the battle! Combat effective, Badger 1! We will finish this!
Now, I'm fairly certain you can't actually prevent your tank from being targeted with these long-range enemy missiles.
All call signs. Evacuate the area. Payload is inbound to your coordinates. Repeat. Payload
Badger 2,
is
report!
inbound.
Move your ass, soldier! Badger 2 is not operational.
I was making this
One of the crew is alive.
observation when I was playing before. Like, we're doing just fine.
Keep running!
Why would they suddenly have like amazing aim?
Get on the tank! I got our men. Proceeding to exfil at Charlie Delta.
Move it back to 1. Missile is 30 seconds to impact.
Well, that was satisfying. On to the next mission, and I'm gonna... It's not nearly time for dinner yet, but try to eat something, for Christ's sake.
It's big. Command, there's a whole ring of Federation satellites and they're all powering up.
Maxwell, this is Merrick. We won't last long down here. Get in there and get it done.
Roger. Going in. Heavy Federation reinforcements are in pursuit of ground forces. Sit rep.
Merrick, be advised. We made it to the station.
Make it fast, Axel. We're taking heavy ordnance down here.
Solid final. Moving on. Let's get control of this station, then we'll start raining some hell of our own. EVA's engaged.
This mission was frustrating.
Tangos, 12 high. Watch out for the shoreline. Short for night.
I had to sort of wander around and locate the enemy soldiers, which were pretty well camouflaged against the colors of the space station for some reason, despite the fact that these Federation guys have orange spacesuits. So, question again, do all, like, astronauts wear white? It's just American astronauts, and or is it just like NATO astronauts or something? Do all, like, you know, former Eastern Bloc countries wear orange spacesuits? Because I know that the Soviets wore orange spacesuits. Okay. You would not think, in my opinion, that infantry would be the weapon of choice in a space battle, because you're just like moving in slow motion randomly around everywhere.
Icarus, be advised. We've lost the carrier fleet. Give me a sit rep.
You're in the control room. We're taking a direct approach now.
Oh god, where is everybody? You don't know when your enemies have died because they don't fall down, they just keep floating in basically the same position they were when they were alive. You have to like be on the lookout for the blood splatter so you know that they've died. Pro tip for this mission: just never stop moving. Eh? Oh god, I'm gonna die. Sheesh. Whatever happened to the good old days when they had markers to tell you exactly where everything was? You know?
Icarus, be advised. We've lost the carrier fleet. Give me a sit rep.
You're in the control room. We're taking a direct approach now. We'll have to breach the exterior wall.
They certainly have a lot of astronauts compared to us. You know, it's funny, of course, because the Americans are the most powerful military, the most technologically advanced military
Fall back to the airfield. They have an entire
overall.
division on top of them. Take that station.
They have the most of any given, like, type of, like, unit, for lack of a better word, like a certain, you know, class of tanks or a certain amount of anti-aircraft guns or submarines or what have you. There's a couple of areas in which the Russians or the Chinese have us beat. Like, for example, the Russians have more helicopters than we do, but I learned that for the infographics show.
Take the control console.
I guess that must be why COD games always talk about Hinds, like Hind helicopters being used by all sorts of
Copy, Icarus. We're sending you enemy position.
rogue third world states.
Wilco, set 3, 4, and 8 loaded and ready. Thompson, initiate launch. All runs away. Connecting to target drone.
armor battalions.
Turkey online. Fire when ready.
Holy shit! They built that.
Southern reinforcements neutralized.
Icarus Actual, ghosts are on the train moving southwest through your targeting area. Hold your fire. Repeat.
So they're autonomous drones that sort of wander around the battlefield,
Icarus, now feeding you local Federation armor.
but they're
Be careful, they're right on top of our guys.
launched from fucking
Nice job,
space
Icarus.
stations.
Heavy armor's been nullified. Ground units are being flanked. Do you have visual?
Visual confirmed. Targeting now. Thompson, get your shots on target.
Good work, Icarus. Local units can clear the remaining hostile forces. Prepare to target remaining Federation naval vessels. Location at... Hold, Icarus. Incoming traffic. Icarus Actual, do you still have eyes on the southwest train?
Affirmative.
Relay previous order. Target the train and fire on it.
Sir, there are ghosts on that train.
The order comes from the ghosts. You're confirmed. Repeat, confirmed. Fire on that train.
Thompson, fire when ready.
Nah.
Dad taught us many things, but one lesson always stood out. Good men are defined by the choices they make. Logan and I made a choice, a promise, to the fallen ghosts before us, to Dad. We'd fight Rourke and we'd stop it. No matter the cost.
You know, for all the hate that the COD games get for their storylines, you know, the voice acting is certainly of professional quality, even though all of the male protagonists sound exactly the same. Honestly, at this point, if you are able to
Finish this.
describe any main protagonist as gravelly voiced, that is so overdone that you should just change your voice actor immediately at that point. Like, I mean, you're basically, we have a situation where the new voice actor for Sam in Splinter Cell sounds like your average COD protagonist. God, why is it so dark all of a sudden? I can't see shit. Oh god. Stop shooting at me. Oh god! You need to stay on the train. No shit, asshole. Ooh, I can drop the bridge myself. I thought I had to wait for Hesh to do it. Okay. Honestly, I need to stop and rest. Okay. Necesito competencia. No puedo salir. Now this was what killed me last time. I actually had to restart forward, and I have to restart again. Because at that exact moment when the missiles were let loose on the train, I was at a very specific checkpoint wherein I could not prevent myself from falling off the train as a result of the missiles that were raining down. And I don't remember that being a problem in previous playthroughs before my original Let's Play playthrough for this game yesterday. And it's so funny that it's happening again. I'm sure I would have, been really pissed off at this game had I had that happen to me in this mission, when this game came out and I played it. This reminds me of a mission in the assault section of modern Unreal Tournament 2004. Certainly a lot of things going on at this particular moment in time. Pretty much protected from fire here. Oh god. Ooh. Wait for Hesh to catch up. Now, the helos are somewhat a problem, but I don't think I need to go crazy taking them out, because the real sort of bug or issue in this game that makes it difficult to finish is one checkpoint later. Now, for those who are struggling with that particular part of the mission, you just have to move to the left as soon as humanly possible in order to beat it. Wow, I have a lot of them. I might not even run out of ammo for the whole mission. That'll be a new record. It's so fun to just literally slaughter every single human on top of this train. Oh. Yeah, I'm probably not running out of ammo because these guys have the same gun that I have, so I'm just automatically picking up all of their ammo.
Copy, Ash. We're moving in on Rourke. If you hear the word checkmate, you will fire in our position. Confirm. Say again. Repeat your last. You heard me, Merrick. Our checkmate hit this train.
So they're gonna kill themselves.
We can't take any chances, Logan. Even if we fail, Rourke dies. Okay, 3, 2.
For a personal vendetta. To kill, like, a lower-ranking sort of Federation captain. Even though we know that at this point the war is won for the Americans, and he'll die eventually.
You can't win, Rourke. It's over.
So instead of staying out of this personal vendetta fight and
Checkmate confirmed.
risking getting killed,
What'd you do? Nice work.
instead of lending their support to the greater war effort as, powerful special forces operatives, they're going to go out completely on their own. They're going to get themselves killed.
Grab the gun!
Oh, I remember you have to go really fast to actually move forward to the gun. Grab the bullets.
Logan, do it now! Do it!
I mean, if you're gonna drown in like 15 seconds, I can see why you would shoot your friend in order to make sure that Rourke dies. Because, we're all gonna die, in 15 seconds. But as you will soon see, there will be some complications with that situation. Hesh actually survives. Whoa, oh my god. I could have never predicted that, and I'm actually not being sarcastic there, but there's no reason he should have survived.
You got him, Logan. You did. Merrick, come in. Merrick, did you copy?
Hesh, is that you?
Yeah. I'm with Logan. We're okay.
And Rourke?
Dead. He's dead.
Copy that. The Federation's in full retreat. The rest of the payload's inbound to finish the job. Sit tight. Recon's coming for you.
Whoa! Beach view of fireworks. Now we'll skip these for a particular reason. I mean, I actually don't think we can, but anyway, give it a few minutes. There's a bit more to the story, but in the meantime, I'd like to thank all of you if you made it this far. This is my first full Let's Play that I'm going to upload very soon after finishing this. And there'll be more coming. I have Celtic King's Rage of War coming very soon. In fact, I might even start it this afternoon. As well as another project, my alternate history stories / sort of historical fantasy / political fantasy, geopolitical reports that I will be uploading to YouTube with narration and music and maps and relevant, pictures to the slideshows and all that. So expect some political stories with narration. Expect Celtic Kings Rage of War, and perhaps something else as well. Oh no, he survived. How ridiculous. Now this is what really turned off a lot of people to the story of this game, and I think, like, sorry, twist
You've
ending.
been a hell of a ghost.
The twist ending, sorry, yeah.
That's not gonna happen. There ain't gonna be any ghosts. We're gonna destroy them together. Okay.
Ooh, spooky ending. Obviously hinting at a sequel, but as anyone who's been paying attention to the game industry lately knows, they never did one. They've put out, let's see, Infinite Warfare, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, like 4 games, I believe, at this point, without any hint of a Ghost sequel. I imagine that some of the hate of this game came from like a poorly done multiplayer mode, because obviously that's what 75% of the fans focus on. Oh, who am I kidding? 90% of the fans. But I can only imagine that something particularly ironic happened with the fanbase, and that they hated this twist ending so much. They hated their heartstrings being pulled to the extent, we thought Hesh and Logan were going to die because they were, they were bombing the train on purpose. Then they survived, but we thought that they were going to die because Logan was going to shoot Hesh through the heart in order to kill Rourke at the same time. And then they played with us again, and they had Rourke capture Logan. After Rourke survived, and Hesh survived to see his friend, be captured, and Merrick survived to be lulled into a false sense of security that Hesh and Logan were doing fine when in fact Logan was captured. And I think the fans hated this twist so much that they just review bombed the game to the point where they thought that it wasn't even worth it to make the sequel at all. And so this was a very interesting situation, and I'll have to research when I get done with this whether there's any sort of rumor swirling at this point in 2018 of a Ghost sequel. But for the moment, I think I will be working on trying to get more of a historical games thing going. I've got Celtic Kings, obviously I mentioned before, that I'm doing. I may do Command & Conquer. I may do Age of Mythology, because that's my favorite game. Celtic Kings probably would rank as my third favorite game, and Rome Total War 1 would be my first favorite game. I don't know where Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos or Dawn of War series or Medieval 2 Total War would rank, but I think they would rank definitely in the top 10. But regardless, that'll do it for today, and I hope you all had fun. If you If you manage to stick around this long, tell your friends, and I hope you have a nice evening. See ya on the flip side, guys.